Anyways, we're gonna do a bit more stuff. If you can see, I've been on X recently. I'm gonna tell you, X has very quickly become my very favorite source of social media. And that's coming from someone who's loved YouTube all his life, to be honest. It's kind of crazy. Let's get into this. I'm going to show you a few things, and I'm going to show you what I think of them.
I hate living in America.
I'm not a big fan of living in America. I think especially as a college student and like being a young adult and kind of entering the adult world, it's very hard to kind of see like how the world is unfolding and feeling very helpless.
Yeah. The good thing about her is, if you can tell by the annoying way she literally talks, as well as like the annoying amount of stuff she has on her. As you can see, like, these people are obviously sad, angry. They're basically the woke liberal college students that are mad that things aren't going their way because apparently their way of thinking is the one and only true correct way. So yeah, screw these people. I'm glad that you're having a bad day. Here's General Mills set to remove toxic chemicals from 403 of its food products. The image used. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this, man. RFK, dude, he's been great. If the entire food as well as healthcare industry is like they're scared of you even being allowed, you're doing a great job, RFK. You're making America healthy again. You're making foods less toxic. Not only that, but you're part of the Kennedy family. He's already rich to begin with. He can't be bought because, he was already rich to begin with. This is something that I'm going to tell you guys, but there have been a few presidents that a lot of people in the media hated. JFK, he was rich beforehand. He didn't want a million handouts to give a million small favors in return. Ronald Reagan was the same way. And Trump was the same way. But when you go to people like Joe Biden, you get into this area where you see where he does a bunch of small favors and he's a grifter too. He moves where the money is. He was fine with segregating buses, segregating things in the 90s and 80s. But now he apparently is, Obama's vice president and the president of America that's cool with DEI and all that stuff. Another one is that him and Hillary Clinton were taught by Robert Byrd, a very prominent Democrat who was also a KKK member. Yeah, and very little people remembered to bring that out during Joe Biden's term. I wonder why. Just like Hillary Clinton doing blackface when she was brought out in 2016. People are so quick to use cancel culture, but the moment it was, something against them, the media was dead silent. Nobody said stuff. Robert Byrd, a literal KKK member. In fact, a pretty prominent one too. Until he later denounced it, but let's be honest, like, it probably did not fully leave him. He probably just did it due to it not being popular at the time. But yeah, the Democrats loved RFK until his color became red. Then they hated him. The same thing with Trump. The same thing with Joe Rogan. The same thing with Elon Musk, who was pretty much the baby of the Democrats, who loved everything. Oh, the electric vehicles, all the liberal stuff, all that stuff. The moment he became red, they all started hating him. Democrats are the only group of people on the planet that can gun down an innocent man, celebrate his death, mock his wife, destroy memorials for him, and lie about who killed him and somehow still make themselves victims. That is not true. Many terrorist organizations, such as Palestine, will do that themselves. Except, they'll let their kids use weapons and have them be gunned down in a fight for them instead. Disgusting. Here's another one.
How would you define a woman, Mr. Walsh?
Before he goes, I'll show you exactly what a woman is. Okay, I'll show you exactly what a woman is. You see this thing? Yeah, this is Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, exactly. A actual, literal woman. Yeah. Anyways, let's go on.
An adult human female.
Agreed. Agreed, 100%.
And how doesn't a transgender woman fit that definition?
Simple. Because Mother Nature doesn't allow you to choose where you're born, who you're born to, how financially wealthy your parents are, or even like how mentally capable you are. Mother Nature chooses it for you. Therefore, if you're born in Florida and you're born as a man, and that's what you were, you cannot change that. It's impossible because Mother Nature dictated that's what you are. And if you want to fight against it and fight to the end of the world that you aren't what you are, you can do that, but you're never gonna beat science and biology, which is you are that, you'll never be anything else, so shut the hell up.
Because they're not female. They have. You said that you are a biological male, correct?
Mm-hmm. I said I'm transgender. I might be intersex for all we know. About almost as many people in the world are transgender as intersex, and a lot of people don't know.
Well, but that's a different conversation. Intersex, that's a genetic anomaly, that's a medical condition. So that's a completely different conversation. That's also...
Exactly. That's what people use. They use these things that are actual real genetic diseases and things that affect people, and then they use it on themselves like it makes it any better. Guess what? If you fake a disease and lie to people about it, I'm going to tell you this straight up. You are an asshole. If you pretend to be crippled just so people feel bad for you, you are a literal asshole. You're a piece of shit. There is no other way to put it other than that. Screw you. Oh, here's one.
Racist.
Here's another Charlie Kirk one.
This word has been overused for so long that we don't seem to understand what it is anymore. And it's what people call Charlie Kirk, in part for this statement about several prominent black women.
In fact, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us.
Exactly.
They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know.
That's not something to brag about either. I'm only here because they set the standards lower for me, and I would not have been here any other way. Oh, great, you're literally the weakest link on the team. Great, you're literally pushing the rest of the team down for the sake of having you in it.
You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
Exactly.
You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously.
Was that rude and insensitive of Charlie?
Yes.
Yes. Was it a counterproductive personal attack? Also,
really.
Yes. Was it racist?
No.
No. The Oxford English Dictionary defines racism as prejudice or discrimination based on race, or the belief that some races are inherently superior. Out of context, Charlie's statement can sound racist. And here's the context. Charlie was talking about affirmative action policies. He was responding to a series of admissions by several of those black women that they benefited from affirmative action, including this one.
Rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative
Clear
action,
recipient.
Particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color.
Okay, the first part, as a woman, you are the majority in America. Therefore, you should not get affirmative action based off of that, because you are the biggest demographic in America. Second of all, as a black, you still shouldn't be getting affirmative action. And that's because it makes everyone else look bad. It makes it look like the only reason you're there is because everyone else had to carry you up to that podium in the first place. When in fact, there's a lot more black people that are far more capable and far better than you ever could be that should have had your position, but instead they picked you because you align with all their beliefs even though you're the weakest link in it.
But I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action.
Michelle Obama wrote of her college experiences, I sometimes wondered if people thought I got there because of affirmative action. I went to Harvard, and I've often wondered the same thing. I even had a white liberal, who I knew, throw that in my face. And it's a rational thing to wonder. Charlie voiced the doubt that many were afraid to admit. In a system that factors in race, people will wonder if race is a factor. So if Michelle wondered if people had doubt, wouldn't it be reasonable to expect that some people did have doubt? Now, look, you might think the upside of affirmative action outweighs the downside. That's okay. Charlie disagreed. And here was his mistake. By attacking the intelligence of those women, he made his point in an emotionally unintelligent way. It was racially insensitive. Charlie was a white man commenting on specific black women. So there's a higher chance of him coming across as offensive and other black women feeling defensive.
Yeah, and the whole point of this is that whenever you attack somebody of a certain race or gender, that's not meant for anybody else except that person. Everyone else apparently takes offense for them because they think they're personally attacking them. And that's the biggest problem. When people say, oh, there's a bunch of illegal immigrants bringing drugs, killing people and all that, you think I care? I came from Dominican Republic. You think I care about that? No, I don't. I'm like, get those fuckers out. I don't want them here. That's my stance on it. Easy, simple.
That doesn't mean he can't speak. It's just a reminder to all of us that what you say matters and how you say it matters too. And it wasn't racist. He didn't say they were unqualified because they were black. He said he thought they were unqualified and speculated they were elevated because they were black. And affirmative action policies create the conditions for that speculation. He attacked specific individuals who he thought benefited from a race-based policy. He did not imply that their race made them inferior. Which brings us to our bigger problem. Charlie was just killed. People are celebrating his death.
Exactly.
His comment was insensitive. And celebrating death is inhuman.
Yeah.
That would be true even if that statement was racist. But that's the problem with social media. An insensitive sentence gets called racist. And then racists get the death sentence. Then people rush to explain, I don't condemn violence, but this is why I'm not bothered.
Exactly.
We should all be bothered. We think we know the whole truth, but we don't. Algorithms give us news that confirms our views. So people don't see the Black Leadership Summits Charlie organized. They don't see how he had Black allies who he listened to when he made mistakes. Social media is warping our reality and our humanity. A bad argument doesn't make a bad person, but we exaggerate the bad and explain away the good. And now, many are celebrating the death of a man they're certain they understood.
Yeah. And they never understood him. Charlie was a great guy. He helped far more black people than any of these people claiming that Charlie's racist ever will have in their entire pathetic lives. Not even joking. He's done far more for the black community and far more positive impact for them than they ever will. That's Charlie's legacy. He helped lift up and carry more black people into a better mindset, into a society that cares and loves them, far more than these losers who perpetually put themselves in victimhood because they don't want to take responsibility for them being the problems in their lives.
This assassination is a wake-up call for our nation. This is where broken discourse leads. Partisanship isn't